Big fight night. We have the return of John Jones, and FanDuel is offering a promotion. So these types of promotions are called odds boosts. And basically, all it means is they take a wager and then they boost the odds, right? So you can see right here, Dr. Disrespect Super Boost is John Jones to win by submission or on points versus Cyril Gahn, boosted from plus 100 to plus 200. So they're basically doubling the odds, right? So a lot of people, they get sketched out at these promos and they're like, oh, these FanDuel boosts, they got to be rigged. They can't be profitable. And that's BS, right? FanDuel's not rigging the UFC. You just have to understand the math, the strategy of going through odds boosts as well as other promos on FanDuel and kind of figuring out which ones are profitable, which ones aren't profitable. So like this one today was super profitable, but not all FanDuel promotions are profitable. So you got to go know the math, the strategy. So let's get into it. John Jones to win by submission or on points. So what we're going to look at is this is called a betting exchange. It's called the Betfair Betting Exchange, and it's a peer-to-peer betting site, right? So usually when you're on a sports book, let's take Bet Online, one of the many sports books, kind of on OddsJam, Bet Online Sportsbook, right? When you're betting on Bet Online, you're betting against the house, right? You're betting against the company. You're betting against Bet Online. Now with these exchanges, you're betting against a counterparty, right? The Betfair exchange, they're just kind of connecting buyers and sellers for bets. So you can see right here, the market on John Jones to win by submission is 7 at 7.6, right? So 7.6. Backall is 7. Layall is 7.6. So what these numbers mean is backall is the price, the odds that you can bet on John Jones to win by submission. So what you'll notice here is we have 7, 7.6, 3.5, 3.45, and 3.5. Now, these numbers may be confusing for a lot of people, but this is just decimal odds, right? So if you go to OddsJam and then you go to an odds converter calculator, all 7 means, so this is European odds or decimal odds, 7 means plus 600, right? 7 means plus 600. So this market right here is essentially plus 600 is the price that you can get John Jones to win by submission on the Betfair exchange, right? And you can lay him at 7.6, which would be minus 660 odds. So in other words, you can sell him to win by submission. So essentially the market, if you're thinking about a market in American odds would be plus 600, right? Minus 660. That would be the market on the sports book, a 60-cent spread, right? But what we can do is we can say, okay, here we see the market on the Betfair exchange. We have someone who's willing to bet on John Jones to win by submission at 7.6 or plus 660 odds. And we have somebody willing to sell him to win by submission at plus 600, right? Or 7 decimal odds. So the market is 7.6. So what you can do to figure out the fair price is take the midpoint, right? So you assume the midpoint is the fair price. So it's kind of like if there were a stockbroker, right, who's like, hey, I'll buy this stock for $7 and I'll sell it for 7.6. That's a stock market, right? They'll add in a spread. I'll buy this stock for $7. I'll sell it at 7.60. Is essentially the midpoint is known as fair value, right? So if someone's willing to buy something at $7, they obviously think it's worth more than $7. If they're willing to sell it at 7.60, they obviously think it's worth less than 760. So the midpoint, 7.3, is kind of known as fair value, right? So then what we need to do is we need to convert these odds into probabilities. So we take the odds, right? This is known as the fair odds. So essentially the fair odds for Cyril Gahn, or the point of indifference for him winning, right, by submission would be plus 630. So what this means is if I could go to, let's say, Caesar Sportsbook, we can actually pull up this fight very briefly on Caesar Sportsbook. So if I go here, and then I go to Cyril Gahn, and take a sip of my wine, is we can open up this fight, right, and you can do method of result. So basically what this means is if we could get John Jones to win by submission at odds, right, above plus 630, we would be happy, right? But you'll notice on Caesars, they're only giving you plus 475, which is terrible odds, right? You can literally go to the exchange and you can bet him at 7. Again, this is just plus 600. So you could bet him at plus 600 on the Betfair exchange. So you use this as a source of information, right? Even if the Betfair exchange isn't available in your location, the fact that their market is 7 at 7.6 or plus 600 minus 660, the fact that you can bet on John Jones to win by submission at plus 600 should indicate to you that plus 475 is horrible odds, right? This is horrible odds. You can literally bet him plus 660 or plus 600 on the Betfair exchange. So getting plus 475 on Caesars is a rip-off price. Don't touch this with a 10-foot pole, right? So then we're going to do John's Boost, UFC, FanDuel. So the fair line now for him to win by points is, again, just the midpoint here, because that's going to be, in American odds, plus 247.5. 3.475, you just take the midpoint of this, right? 3.475. Then you can, put that into an odds converter calculator if you want. 3.475 plus 247.5 American odds. And again, this also will give you your fair win probability. So we know for him to win by points, the fair price is plus 247.5, which implies a fair probability of 28.78%. And then for, this was 7.3, I think it's 13.7 for his probability of winning by submission. So here's his probability of winning by points according to the Betfair betting exchange market. And here's the probability that he wins by submission. Right? And the way you kind of have to think about this is if John Jones is trading around plus 600 to win by submission, right? Plus 600, the break-even win probability means if you're betting at plus 600, right, you need to win 1 out of 7 times to break even. If you're betting at plus 600, right, let's assume you're placing this bet on John Jones to win by submission at, plus 600 odds, you need to win 1 out of 7 of your wagers at plus 600 odds to break even, right? You can lose $100 6 times, as long as on the 7th time, right, you win $600. That's break even, right? So your break even win rate for plus 600 odds, so when you put in plus 600 here, right, in this odds converter calculator, if you put in plus 600, you're going to see it's 14.29%, which is just 1 out of 7. Right? So odds are directly related to probabilities. And we have some videos about this, but it's a super important concept that's critical to understand in sports betting, right? Odds are probabilities. Minus 200 means a 2-to-1 favorite, or 2/3 of the time that person's going to win, 66.7% of the time, right? So minus 200, 2-to-1 favorite, 2/3 to win favorite. So we have the fair probability for John Jones to win by points and submission. So the combined probability that he wins by points or submission is you add these together, right, which is 42.47%. And what you can do with this is convert the probability back into a fair odd, right? So 42.47 plus 135.46 is the fair odds. And we're getting... So let's go back here. And on FanDuel, we're getting plus 200. So you're getting way better odds than the fair odds, right? So when you're betting at plus 200 odds, you only need to win 1/3 of your wagers, right? Plus 200 means a 2-to-1 underdog, right? Or a third to win. So if you're betting at plus 200 and you're winning over 33.3% of the time, that's your break-even win rate, then you're going to be profitable, right? So if you're betting at plus 200 odds and you're winning 40% of your wagers, you're going to be super profitable. And here we can see the combined probability is 42.47%, right? And on this FanDuel Boost, they're usually a max wager of $50. So you're wagering $50 to win 100, right? And 42.47% of the time, according to betting markets, according to the Betfair exchange, 42.47% of the time you're winning $100. The other, 58-ish% of the time, you're losing your stake of $50. So you can back out your profit margin. Again, it's just 42.47%. times 100 minus roughly 58% times 50. So the other times, the other 58% of the time, you're losing your stake of $50. So this odds boost, literally just betting this odds boost, has $14 in profit margin, 27.4% edge or profit margin, right? $14 in profit margin, $50 stake, roughly 28% profit margin, quantified in percentage terms, right? Which is also known as your edge in sports betting. So when you're looking at the positive EV tool on OddsJam, you're not going to get plays that are 28%. This is just for a crazy profitable promo. I mean, you can tell, right? FanDuel's boosting this from plus 100 to plus 200. Obviously, there's a really good chance it's really profitable, and it is 27.4%. Like, typically the plays we're going with on the EV tool are 2%, 3%, which is still a lot, right? You're earning 3% on a daily basis. 3% edge in sports betting. This game is tonight. 3% edge means 90% a month, right? If you're betting every day and you have a 3% ROI on your bets, 3%, 30 days in a month, that's 90% ROI in a month, assuming, right? Assuming you're betting every day. So hopefully this video was helpful, kind of going through some concepts, how to price FanDuel Odds Boost. But long story short, this one's super, super profitable. Lock it in. Let's make money.